You are going to one of my favorite cities in the absolute world. This is an underrated gem that I don't think that people know about it. So let's keep this between you and I, okay? If you're watching this, you are going to one of the most beautiful places on this earth, and that is, of course, Lisbon, Portugal. But congratulations to you because you booked the trip. And now I'm going to tell you the top 5 things and top 5 places that you need to be visiting if you're going to Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon, like I said, is one of my favorite cities in the whole wide world. All the cities that I've traveled to, Lisbon is among my top 5 for sure. And this was something that was so unexpected to me. When I went to Lisbon, I was visiting Barcelona and Lisbon, and I was for sure, hands down, going to be like, Lisbon is just a place that we're going, but Barcelona is the main attraction. And boy, was I wrong. Lisbon completely caught me off guard, but honestly, I would have preferred that over going into it expecting something different. So if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Stephanie, but you can call me StephaNena because we're back again with another video. I create travel, personal development, and lifestyle content so that you can be living your best life and feeling like you're living your best life. I also create a lot of travel resources for you so that you can plan, pack, and prepare for your trips 10 times better. And you can actually check those resources out by scanning these QR codes or clicking the link down in the description, which is my stand store. You get access to a completely free packing list that you can download right now. You also can buy a travel guide that helps you to plan, organize, prepare for your trips 10 times better. Y'all, this is a travel guide that I wish I had when I started traveling, so I knew exactly what to be looking for. Gives you access to deals and apps and things like that. And then also, if you have a little bit of trouble financially preparing for your trips like I used to, the Budget Like a Boss spreadsheet is going to be the spreadsheet for you, okay? This is the ultimate Google Sheets that you're gonna need in order to prepare for your trips financially, and honestly, not just your trips. Like, this is everyday life. Now, if you're planning a trip and you get a little bit overwhelmed with that itinerary planning process, you can actually fill out my Effortless Escapes Plan request form, because I work with clients one-on-one to help them establish an itinerary that works for them, no matter the length of the trip, no matter how many people are going, and what your budget style is. We're gonna work together to make sure that you can plan and prepare for the perfect trip. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the top 5 things to do in Lisbon, Portugal, one of the most magical places in the entire world. Now, Lisbon is full of so much royal history that I'm not sure that many people know and understand. Lots and lots of culture and some amazing, amazing food. Now, Lisbon is more so seaside, so that seafood is going to be completely fresh. Their culture and history is so deep and very royal, which is something that I really enjoyed that I didn't really know much about. Now, to give you a brief history lesson, Lisbon is actually one of the oldest cities in Europe. It's even older than Rome. It was founded over 3,000 years ago, and it was ruled by the Mormons. It was ruled by the Romans, the Phoenicians, and the Moors before eventually becoming the city and the capital of Portugal that it is to this day. What to me really makes Lisbon shine is its royal history, like literally royal history. When you think of European monarchs and things like that, Portugal in general actually has a very deep royal history as well. For centuries, this was the home of Portuguese kings and queens, and eventually became the capital for the Age of Discoveries that we'll learn a little bit more about today, and the places that you need to be visiting when you go to Portugal. Lisbon is actually where voyages to Africa's, Asia's, and the Americas were planned and funded for by the Crown took place. And the Belém district, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, is where you can really see that deep royal history and culture. It's literally like a time machine back into where all these things were taking place, especially with the Age of Discoveries, the Monument to Discoveries and stuff like that. You'll definitely see some touches on that there too. Now, unfortunately, in 1755, a massive earthquake came and destroyed most of the city, which they call Old Portugal or Old Lisbon, but it still rebuilt itself to be the bold, vibrant, colorful city that we see today in all of the pictures. You guys, it's just so breathtaking breathtakingly beautiful. And you are doing a good job by doing research before you're going to Lisbon. I actually did not do any research, you guys. I literally came into this trip like not really knowing much about Lisbon, which is very not typical for me at all. I usually like to do research about a place before I go, but part of me is really glad that I did that because I came in with no expectations, and Lisbon just exceeded every single expectation that I had, down from the royal history to the food and to the pastries, the desserts, y'all. Like I have a sweet tooth, and they hit the nail right on the head. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the top 5 must see and do things in Lisbon, Portugal. Okay, so starting at number 5 is explore Belém. Now Belém has so many beautiful things that really touches on that royal history, and it gives you like it's basically like a time capsule back into time. So you can explore the tower, you can explore Pastéis de Belém, which is a bakery, and the monument as well. So what Belém is just basically a riverside district. I mean, it's a district that has all these beautiful gems kind of like along the Tagus River. You just like literally walk around. It has beautiful scenery. Like I said, it is riverside. The food is good over there. Of course, I mean, it's good everywhere in Portugal, but at the end of the day, this is a great place for you to just go and walk around. And even like if you don't have any plans, this is just a great place to explore. The Belém Tower is a 16th century fortress that once guarded the harbor. And so you'll see that when you go, that tower is kind of like a lighthouse in a way. When you go to like a river or your port side or your seaside and you see a light tower, think of that, right? This is where you see where all these shipments used to go out, because like I said, Lisbon has a very rich history. They used to be bringing in a lot of shipments because they were right on the coast right there. This tower was one of the aids for that. Now the second thing is going to be the monument to discoveries, and the monument to discoveries is trust me, you guys, when you think of Lisbon, when you think of the Tagus River, you think of the monument to discoveries, and it's a very beautiful monument. Of course, I have a funny picture at that monument, but this monument was built to basically memorialize what Lisbon was, their culture, because like I said before, they used to be going on voyages to the Africas, the Asias, the Americas. And so this right here, this monument is to symbolize that and to symbolize what they used to be able to do right there at that port, because Lisbon has not only a rich royal history, they have a rich money history as well, because they were able to bring in those goods and services into that port. So the monument to discoveries really symbolizes that for them. And of course, Pastéis de Belém is the bakery, one of the most famous bakeries in Portugal, in Lisbon, and it is home to the pastel de nata. Now, I hope that I'm saying that correctly, but you need to try this, okay? This is the most famous pastry of Portugal. It is actually like their national pastry, basically, and it's pretty good to me. Now, of course, everybody's gonna, think something different, but it's basically like an egg custard tart, and you can put like either cinnamon, or powdered sugar on top and enjoy it like that. I thought that they were really good, but like I said, I have a sweet tooth, and kind of like with here in the US with Coca-Cola, how the people who have the recipe for Coke, they can't fly on the same plane. It's actually the same in Portugal with this pastel de nata, because it is just so sacred to them. Those two people cannot fly on the same plane just in case anything were to happen to them. It's a very secret recipe, and it's actually really good. So definitely try it when you go. This is the national pastry. You have to try it if you're visiting Portugal, and I would suggest trying it here at Pastéis de Belém, because this is where it was basically like created. This is the original bakery for this pastry. So here's a pro tip though. If you do plan on going to Belém to explore Belém, you definitely need to go earlier to beat the crowds, because that pastry line can get very long, and so can everything else, right? Especially depending on the time of year that you're going. So I would say this is like an activity that you want to do before 12. If you get there at 10, stay till 2. That is literal perfect timing before a lot of people start coming in, and try to enjoy that as well. But I would even say maybe even a little earlier, but try and beat the crowds in, especially that pastry line, because that can get pretty long. So number 4 is discovering Castelo de São Jorge. Castelo de São Jorge is, I think, how you say it. But this castle is beautiful. It's a little bit of a trek, I'm not gonna lie, into the city, but trust me, you're gonna want to walk. You're not gonna want to like just get dropped off. You're gonna want to walk and explore the beauty that is just the inner streets of Portugal. And once you walk up the hill, you're gonna go into this castle, and it was actually built by the Moors. And when I said in the beginning that it was, you know, Portugal or Lisbon was once territory of the Romans, it was once territory of the Phoenicians and then the Moors. So the Moors actually built this castle. Then it was taken over by the Christians. And then this is where Portuguese royalty actually started to take over back. And I think in 1147 is when this became property of the Portuguese. And this is where the royal family, well, one of the royal families actually were living. And this was kind of like a watchtower all the way up until the 16th century. When you get up there, you are going to be able to see beautiful views of the city of Lisbon. You're going to see the red rooftops that you see. You're going to see the colors on the buildings. You get to overlook and see Tagus River. There's so many beautiful things to see at the top of the castle. And fun fact, they actually have peacocks just running around. This I did not expect. I was like, is that a peacock right there? Like, what is going on? So the peacocks are super fun. They don't really bother you, to be honest, unless you bother them. But it is cool to just like snap a quick picture just to see them and what they're doing. They literally just roam around, and they're beautiful, right? You have the male and the female peacocks, the beautiful colors, and they just let them roam, to be honest. And it's just so beautiful to be able to look out and see all the colors of Lisbon and all the red rooftops, the skyline, the city views. It's just amazing. So definitely, if you're going to be making that trek to Belém, you might as well go ahead and go to Castelo de Jorge as well, because that is something that you're going to want to see, especially touching on that royal history that Lisbon has to offer. Now let's go ahead and move on to number 3. Now number 3 is a day trip to Sintra. Now when I think Portugal, I also think Sintra. When I think Lisbon, I think Sintra. It was home to basically the royal family of Lisbon back before the 16th century, or I guess in the 16th century, if that makes sense. Now, it is a little bit of a drive, so definitely you're going to want to hire, you know, maybe a driver or have a tourist guide take you up there, because this is not something that you really want to explore yourself because of just how much history is there. But when I think royal palaces and everything like that, I think Sintra. This is home to like all of the castles and things of that nature. So you're going to see Pina Palace, you're going to see Quinta de Regalia, I'm saying that right. And then you're also going to see the Moorish castle as well, all in that area. I definitely would say that this was just all the colors. There's like these mysterious gardens, these breathtaking views of the city, of just like the water in the background. Oh, it's so hard to describe, you guys. Like, pictures don't do it justice. You have to see this for yourself. And then you're also going to see just like the scenic trails that Pina Palace has to offer too. So guys, bring your camera, bring your digital camera, forget the phone, ditch the phone, bring the digital camera. You're gonna want to take pictures of this. Sorry guys, my camera died, so we're back. So if it looks a little different, that's just because the camera died. I had to replace the battery super quick. But we're back, and we're still talking about Sintra. You need to go to Sintra because it is literally just like stepping into a history lesson, to be honest, dating back to Portugal's royal roots. And so this is something that you're going to want to see. It is worth the drive. It is worth the trip. And there's also a couple other things that you could look at along the way. Sintra was actually the go-to summer retreat for Portuguese kings and queens. So think about how you go on summer vacation now. This is where they went to vacation too. So you'll definitely understand why as well, because it's just so beautiful there. It takes you away from the city a little bit to something a little bit more relaxing. This is definitely just something to experience. And pro tip, definitely wear some comfortable shoes, guys, if you're going here. That way, you know, when you're walking around, because you do a lot of walking, these palaces are huge. You don't want to be uncomfortable when you're walking around. On top of that, definitely wear something comfortable too. Maybe bring a light jacket. It can get a little breezy because you are up in the mountains. So definitely kind of wear a light cover up light jacket. It gets a little breezy, but it's definitely worth it. It's beautiful, and it's also very Instagram worthy. So if you're there to take some pictures, Sintra is definitely the place that you want to go. I did want to to let you guys know that this is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. And if you don't know what that is, UNESCO stands for United Nations Environmental, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And what they do is when they dedicate that to a World Heritage Site, that means that this is a place, think about taking a whole place and putting it in a museum. So that's what that means. It's preserved just for us to be able to view, look at this, and just preserve its history. So Sintra has definitely been dedicated to a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And if you watched my Barcelona top 5 things to do in Barcelona, you'll know that a lot of Antoni Gaudi's works have also been dedicated to UNESCO sites as well, like La Sagrada Familia and Park Güell. If you want to know like how meaningful that is, just know that that's a pretty big deal. So this is definitely not a place that you want to miss. Now, for sure, let's go ahead and move on to number 2, and that is a day trip to Cascais. Now, oh my God, never did I expect to fall in love with a city like this. This is a place that I would go back just to vacation or just to like live, honestly. Now, when you think Cascais, I want you guys to think like Beverly Hills, not even Beverly Hills. What is like a coastal Malibu? That's what it is. So when you think Cascais, think like upscale Malibu vibes. Like this is where the rich in Portugal used to go to vacation. This was a very royal, like upscale town. It kind of still is, to be honest. It still definitely has those notes of luxury, but taking a day trip to Cascais, you guys, is definitely going to be worth it because it is beautiful. And there's a couple of things to stop and see along the way. It is a very relaxing, just beach town, only about 40 minutes outside of Lisbon by train. So if you take the train, you can get there in 40 minutes, or you can take a bus. Like you could do a whole day tour that I'm sure could take you up to Sintra, down to Cascais, and then back to Lisbon. Now, why go? Why not, first of all? But 2, it is perfect for scenic beach views, amazing seafood, shopping, and also vendors as well. So I'm not talking about like luxury shopping. I'm talking about your authentic shopping. Somebody made this in their living room, pieces that are going to last a really long time. Now, if you're going to Cascais, you must try the bacalhau. Now, bacalhau is salted cod, and I promise you, it is done to perfection here in Cascais. Like nobody does it better. Honestly, I don't know, because this is where I tried it. Literally, my life has changed forever. I was not really expecting much. Everybody was saying to us that the national dish of Portugal was cod. Like they love cod there. Everything with cod is just done to perfection. But the bacalhau, the salted cod here in Cascais, is one of a kind. I will literally show you guys my plate cleaned. Like I don't usually clean a plate like that. But when I tell you fresh wasn't even the word to describe that, that was just so like mouth watering, melt in your mouth kind of food. And it was so like, I guess fresh is the word. It was fresh. It was like tasty. It was full of flavor. It was just so amazing. And I was like, dang, like I wish I could bring this back home. Like, how do I make this at home? And honestly, I don't even know if I can, but it was so great. You guys definitely try the bacalhau if you are a seafood person. Even if you're not a seafood person and you just want to explore and try like the national dish, you definitely want to try this here in Cascais. Now, if you are allergic to seafood, I am so sorry, girl or boy. I don't know. I'm so sorry, because you were definitely missing out. I hate to give you FOMO, but you're kind of just gonna have FOMO here, because at the end of the day, this is not something that you want to miss out on. Don't go risk your life just to try this, okay? But fun fact, this used to be kind of like Sintra was like a summer holiday destination. Cascais was a royal holiday destination as well. And like I said, you can still feel that as you're walking through the streets, as you're looking at the buildings, as you're looking at the restaurants. You can tell that it still has that touch of like royal luxury history with notes of that in there too. And pro tip, like I said before, you can hit a couple of spots on the way to Cascais. Now, what I would suggest you do is pair this either with a beach day, because Cascais is right on the coast, so there is a beach there, or you can do like a scenic hike at Boca de Inferno. I don't know how far away it is, but we stopped there on the way to Cascais and it was perfect. And Boca de Inferno means like the devil's mouth, so I thought that was pretty cool. You get to see all the beautiful views, and then definitely pair this with a beach day, because that way you get to relax in the beautiful city of Cascais. I wish we could have stayed in the city longer, guys. Like, we only got like an hour or two to spend here. So if you could do a whole day here, definitely do it. And let me know if you do, because I won't be jealous for you. I'd be happy for you. And I would really just want to come with you. Honestly, that's what it is. Like, I'd be a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'd be a little jealous, but you should definitely do a whole day here. And Sintra should also be kind of like its whole day as well. You guys, we did Sintra, Boca de Inferno, and Cascais all in the same day. Tired wasn't even the word, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it. But let's go ahead and move on to number one. You must do this. If you're going to Lisbon, you have to do this. Like, this is a no-brainer. This is a non-negotiable, and that is a sunset boat tour. And ours, they had complimentary wine. It was so nice. So basically what you do is you go out on the Tagus River during sunset. It starts at like 5 p.m. They bring you back right after sunset, so around 8 p.m. And you just get to enjoy all the beautiful views. You'll see epic views of the Belem Tower. So when you're going along the Tagus River, like I said in the beginning, where you visit Belém, you'll see the monument to the discoveries at Belém Tower and Castelo de São Jorge. Now, you're not really going to see the Castelo, or the castle, should I say, but you're going to see the Belém Tower along the Tagus River. You're going to see the 25th de Abril Bridge, or the 25th of April Bridge, which is very, 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 you're going to see that this is very similar to the San Francisco Bridge. And you might even ask yourself, because what I did, I was like, that looks like the San Francisco Bridge, but there's a fun fact about that. Let me see if I can look it up real quick, because that was really intriguing to me. The reason why it's called that is because that was like their kind of like emancipation, their day of freedom. It was renamed pretty recently in 1974 to the 25th of April Bridge because it ended a dictatorship. And so that was to like basically rejoice and celebrate that. And it looks very, very similar to the Golden Gate Bridge because it was commissioned by the same company, the American Bridge Company or something like that. I mean, I guess they had the same engineering firm, but it was completely commissioned by the Portuguese government, so it has really no relation to the Golden Gate Bridge. It just looks very, very similar, and that's just because the same people built it, to be honest. Now, you get to do all of this on this sunset wine tour. Now, what you're also going to be able to see is along the Tagus River is the Cristo Rei statue and monument. It's very similar to the Christ the Redeemer statue in Brazil. Now, remember, Brazil, Portugal are both Portuguese, right? They both have very much so Portuguese influence. They both speak Portuguese. Of course, they're going to have some similarities there. And it was actually completely funded by the Catholic Church through donation. So it was not a state project at all. And it was like a thank you gift, or like a nod to like thank God basically for keeping Portugal out of World War II. So that is a pretty cool fun fact. And when you see it, like with the Golden Gate Bridge and the 25th of April Bridge, there are similarities. With Cristo Rei and the Christ the Redeemer, there are similarities, but they actually are not related at all, if that makes sense. They're just kind of like touching on, with the Cristo Rei at least, they are touching on like giving a nod to, oh, that was beautiful, we want something like this as well, just kind of as like a appreciation of culture. Now, Portuguese and Brazil, or Portugal and Brazil, culture is very similar, right? But all that to say, the Sunset Wine Tour is definitely something that you need to do, because you're going to be able to see all these things and pick up on some of the things that I'm talking about. It is just so beautiful. And you get to do all of this, you guys, while sipping some wine. Like, how much better could life get, right? And pro tip, I would probably bring a jacket. It can get a little bit chilly once the sun starts to set. So definitely bring a jacket, especially depending on the time of year. And remember, when you are coastal, once that sun starts to go down, it does get cold outside. So this is not something that you want to miss. Make sure you bring that jacket. And depending on the tour that you go on, you guys, we actually asked if we could drive the boat, and they let us do it. Well, they let Malik do it, which was like really fun. He got to drive the boat, which was crazy when you think about it too, because it's like, homeboy had never driven a boat before. So they were just like, sure. And that kind of goes to show you how nice and genuine the Portuguese people are, because they just really want you to have a good time. They really want you to enjoy their culture. They really want you to enjoy your time there and appreciate it. So of course, when you ask them something, they're very playful people. They'll make jokes. They crack jokes like it's nothing. And if you're easily offended, this is not a place that you want to visit. Trust me, because they will be laughing at you, thinking that you're laughing with them, but you're like low-key hurt on the inside. But it's not even like that. Like, they just have a very playful, joyful culture. That's something to take note of for sure. Now, a bonus for Lisbon, because of course I have a bonus for you guys. If you're going to Lisbon, you need to go to Time Out Market. Now, Time Out Market is one of the most famous food halls in the entire world. There's only maybe I want to say 5 to 7 locations where you can visit Time Out Market, and Lisbon is one of them. And so with Time Out Market, it's a very, very exclusive food hall. You have chefs and restaurants that are applying for years to be able to get put into a Time Out Market so that people can start to try their food. And this is not a place that you would want to miss. My suggestion is that you go hungry, okay? You need to be able to eat a house before you go to Time Out Market. We actually went like 3 times when we were there, and that food was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Completely fresh, so much fun. The people were great. They gave great suggestions, and the food was even better. What you could do when you go with a group of friends, or if you're traveling alone, you know, like I said, go empty stomach, okay? You want to be able to eat. But if you are going with a group, everybody gets something different, and then you guys can all try it, because there's tons of options and you can kind of get a little overwhelmed. So it's easier if somebody gets one thing, the other group gets the other thing, and that way you guys can just bring it together and try and eat that. Now there's everything from like appetizers to dessert there, but trust me, Time Out Market is not something that you would want to miss. Now if you're doing like a joint trip, like you're hitting multiple places at once, they also have a Time Out Market right now in Barcelona, but I wouldn't say that you should wait until Barcelona to do it, because they could have different restaurants in that market as well. So I would try it in Lisbon, then try it in Barcelona, and then wherever you're going next. I'm not sure if they'll have one there, but I do know that it is a very exclusive food hall and market to go to. So Time Out Market is not something that you would want to miss. And additionally, you can go literally like any time of day. So first time we went, it was like for lunch. Then the next time we went, it was for dinner. And then we actually went like right before we got on the Sunset Wine Tour. At the end of the day, trust me, you don't want to miss the Time Out Market. That is the bonus that I wanted to give you guys, as like if you stayed all the way to the end, trust and believe Time Out Market is definitely going to be worth your money. So that is my countdown, my top 5 things to do in Lisbon, Portugal if you are planning a visit. Trust me, these are 5 things that you do not want to miss. So make sure you incorporate that into your itinerary some sort of way. And remember, if you do need help with your itinerary planning, please be sure to fill out that effortless escape plan request form below, because I will definitely be able to help you tailor your trip to your liking. So that way, of course, you don't end up tired, needing a vacation from the vacation at the end of this trip. And like I said, I do have travel resources. Try and check out my Stan store, which you can scan the QR codes or hit the link down below. And I would love to be able to help you out with whatever you might need as far as your trip planning services go. And I really appreciate you guys for watching this video. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so please be sure to hit that red button to subscribe, because I would love to have you as part of the family once we hit that. Definitely some exciting things on the way. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, because that'll suggest to the algorithm that this is a good video for anybody else who's planning a trip to Portugal to watch. But other than that, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Where are you going to check out when you go to Lisbon? Drop that in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if you are planning a trip and you know I didn't cover something, definitely drop that down below so that other people can see that as well, so they can add that to their list of things to do in Lisbon too. Now, like I said, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I hope you come back and tune back in, because I will see you in the next one. Bye.